coming to you from Las Vegas. This is known as Warzone Live, Monday through Friday. Now it's 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific. Great to be with you. All kinds of things happening. Economic issues are my number one thing. Border issues are my number one thing. DEI issues are my number one thing. We had Don Trump Jr. yesterday, and we finish up with Laura Trump today. Laura, Wayne Allyn, how are you? We got a big guest and a great interview today with Dr. Oz with us right now.
Good to see you. I like your tie, by the way.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Great to see you. Always great to have you on the show.
Wayne Allyn Root, happy to see you again on the cutting edge of things on your show, whether it's medical, political, you name it, you're on top of it. So just great to hear that. Great to hear that.
So wonderful to be with you again, Wayne. Good to see you.
Thanks for having me. It's good to be with you tonight.
It's great to see you, Wayne. How you been?
Anytime, Wayne. Great to see you.
Hey, Wayne. Great to see you, brother.
Hey, Wayne. Good to be with you.
Wayne, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Lots going on.
Doing great, Wayne. Glad to be here.
Well, thanks, Wayne. I don't see myself as a hero. I'm just trying to keep this community safe.
This is The War Zone, the official podcast of the Gateway Pundit. 2.5 million unique daily readers. Also on Rumble under Wayne Allyn Root, or Warzone. Then on weekends, we got our big show, America's Top 10 Countdown on Real America's Voice TV. While everybody else is giving opinions, I give solutions. And some of them Trump takes, some of them he doesn't. I wish he'd take all of them. This is the Wayne Stream Media. No more mainstream media allowed in. Only Wayne Stream Media, meaning raw truth and in your face, mother trucker information. The Root's on fire. Welcome to my show, Warzone Live. Monday through Friday, official podcast, The Gateway Pundit. 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific.
Warning! The Root's on fire! You're about to experience the most high-octane, pedal-to-the-metal controversial show of your life. Please buckle up and hold on tightly. This station is not responsible for injuries. This is Wayne Allyn Root, raw and unfiltered, with America's favorite conservative rock star. Direct from the entertainment capital of the world, Las Vegas. What time is it? It's time for war! Here's your host, 100% raw truth, 100% American made, the warrior, Wayne Allyn Root.
All right, Wayne Allyn Root, there's the sphere. One of these days, the sphere will be a big, giant picture of Wayne Root. I know it. I feel it. The king of Las Vegas. I feel it. I wrote a commentary over the weekend. I want to read it to you. Actually, yesterday I wrote it, Sunday. And I think it's very important for everyone to understand what's going on, what evil hypocrites the Democrat Party is. It's titled, Kamala Harris, the world's biggest hypocrite. She chooses to live, and I made up this quote because I'm a poet and I didn't know it, 100% white with no blacks in sight. She lives 100% white with no blacks in sight. Do all Democrats hate black people? They sure don't want to live around them. Even black Democrats don't want to live around black people. When was the last time Obama had a black neighbor? I know that he has no blacks next to his Washington, D.C. mansion. I know he has no blacks next to his Martha's Vineyard mansion. I know he has no blacks next to his Hawaii mansion. And then there's the latest story in the news about Kamala Harris. This one I really know all about. This one hits close to home. Kamala just bought a mansion in Malibu, California. Not just Malibu, more specifically in the Point Dume section of Malibu. Now, I lived in Malibu for almost 15 years. First, I had a home on the beach. I woke up to dolphins playing in the ocean right in front of me. Then I moved to a much bigger home in the Point Dume Zuma Beach neighborhood, overlooking the Pacific from the top of a mountain. I can tell you one thing about both those Malibu neighborhoods. I never saw a black person. Ever. In 15 years, there was no black person. There were no black homeowners, no black renters. I never saw a black worker. I never even saw a black maid or nanny, because every maid and nanny was a Latino illegal alien. I was also the only Republican. Funny how that works. Lots of Democrat hypocrites live in these beautiful, rich, liberal ghettos, but no blacks are allowed. I wonder why. Can anyone explain why rich Democrats don't want to live around black people? These rich Democrats claim to love diversity and equity. They also claim to love black people and minorities and illegal aliens. They claim everyone is equal, but there are never any black people in sight. And the only illegal aliens around there are there to mow the lawns or clean the toilets. Their neighborhoods are snow white. Their spoiled brat lucky sperm club children are lily white. Those privileged kids attend 100% white private schools. When my Malibu neighbors went out to eat, all the restaurant customers were, you guessed it, 100% white. Lots of nice boutiques for shopping in Malibu, too. All white. The shopper's white, the employee's white. Nothing but white women at their hair salons, too. I doubt a single one of those liberal white hairdressers who hate Trump has ever touched a black person's hair. The surfers in Malibu, all white. The people sunning at Zuma Beach, right next to Point Doom, all white. So why would the woman who wanted to be the first black female president of the United States choose to live in such a white place? Malibu is one of the least diverse towns in America. More importantly, why doesn't she like black people? For a black woman, she sure doesn't want to be around black people. Why? Can anyone explain this? Pick me, teacher. I can. First, Kamala is just like all the rich liberal politicians. They're all vile, evil hypocrites who are full of crap. Second, I'll be nice here. I'll give Kamala the benefit of the doubt. I'm guessing she doesn't really hate black people. The issue isn't really about black and white. It's about being safe. Kamala just wants to be safe. And white neighborhoods are always safe. Name a rich white town. Malibu, La Jolla, Carmel, Palo Alto, Aspen, Vail, Park City, Scottsdale, Palm Beach, Scarsdale, Great Neck, Shaker Heights in Cleveland, Martha's Vineyard. The list goes on and on. What these towns have in common, everyone is rich and everyone is white. And they're safe. There are no murders ever, unless, Obama's got his chef out surfing in 5 feet of water. But there are no murders, no violent crime. No one has ever mugged or carjacked. It's pretty simple. White neighborhoods are safe. On the other hand, black neighborhoods and black majority cities are unsafe. They're always crime-ridden. Not just any crimes, major crimes. Drugs, murder, assault, robbery, rape, muggings. One other thing you need to know about black neighborhoods and majority black cities, they're always run 100% by Democrats. Kamala isn't stupid. Neither is Obama or Hillary or Harry Reid before his death. Harry was my neighbor at Anthem Country Club in the suburbs of Las Vegas. He lived a block from me, inside a guard-gated, walled golf country club with 24-hour armed security and government-issued photo ID necessary to enter. All these hypocrite Marxist Democrats choose to live with gates and walls and armed guards in 100% white neighborhoods where they and their families are safe. By the way, in how many years? I lived 17 years in Anthem Country Club, and I think I saw a black person once. One black kid was bouncing a basketball, walked by me while I was walking. It's the only black kid I ever saw, the only black person I ever saw in 17 years in Anthem Country Club. Harry Reid chose to live there. Why do they choose to live there? So they and their families are safe because they're smart. It's middle-class America they want to leave unarmed, helpless, with no walls, no gates, no armed guards, no police, no prisons, and no ICE. It's only in your neighborhoods that they want to force low-income housing. It's only in your kids' schools that they want to force busing from minority neighborhoods. It's always diversity for thee, but not for me. So for Kamala Harris and her rich, powerful liberal friends, there's only one way to live, 100% white, with no blacks in sight. Even if they're black. They don't want to live around black people. Amazing. Just amazing. White neighborhoods are safe, black neighborhoods aren't. There it is. Whoops. Wayne Root said it. The one thing nobody ever wants to say. Everyone tiptoes around it. Find me a dangerous neighborhood. Find me a crime-ridden neighborhood. It's a black neighborhood. Find me a drug-ridden neighborhood. It's a black neighborhood. Find me a neighborhood with high murder rates. It's a black neighborhood. Find me a neighborhood where it's black on black crime. Black neighborhood. Find me a safe neighborhood. White neighborhood. White equals safe. Black equals danger. Is that my fault? Is that racism, or am I stating crime statistics? And it's not my fault, and I'm not racist. Kamala Harris, it's her fault. She's racist. Here's the article I based this on. Kamala Harris moves to $8.5 million mansion in 94% white neighborhood. And believe me when I tell you, the 94% white doesn't mean 6% black. Everyone else is Asian or Latino. There's no blacks in the Point Doom neighborhood of Malibu. Oh, here it is. I guess they're going, U.S. Census Bureau's 2019 American Community Survey. Malibu is 94% white and just 0.2% black. Not 2% black, 0.2% black. Do you understand? I never saw a black person in Malibu, ever. Certainly not in my neighborhoods. And I guarantee you there aren't any in her neighborhood either. Well, actually, there is one now, Kamala Harris. Look who's coming to dinner! On my America's Top 10 Countdown show, this past weekend, where I counted down the most important stories in America, one of my final 4 most important stories in America, I think it happened too late to be on this show, this podcast, or this national syndicated radio show. The two of them are simulcast together. So if you're listening right now, when I say podcast, it's because I'm taping a podcast, which then becomes my nationally syndicated radio show just about an hour later in the day. And this story came out, I believe, on Friday when I do a best of Wayne, because I'm busy spending the whole day filming my America's Top 10 Countdown for Real America's Voice TV that runs Friday night at midnight Eastern and Saturday at noon Eastern on Real America's Voice TV, and also usually Saturday night at midnight Eastern, and then Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern. It runs 4 times a weekend on Real America's Voice TV because it is such a hit. And so this story wasn't even out yet. This one story, as I said on America's Top 10 Countdown, has in it everything wrong with America in one story. If on the Gateway Pundit, I guess, right? Yeah, so should I just keep going? All right, so I'll just keep going. So in this one story is every single problem with America, right? Illegal alien mows down Connecticut cop and girlfriend, kills them both, right? Cop is gone, his girlfriend's gone, while driving drunk and high. So you have illegal aliens on drugs and on marijuana. She's drunk and on marijuana, and she's a registered voter, and she's voted in multiple elections. Isn't that truly amazing? This is the New York Post reported 27-year-old Melissa Ramirez, who is from Mexico, speeding in a 45-mile-per-hour zone. So there she's speeding as well. When she smacked into 38-year-old Connecticut policeman Cooper Whiteside, he was on his Harley Davidson, and the accident said him and his 34-year-old girlfriend, Brittany Islami, flying through the air, both were killed. He was a Bridgeport, Connecticut police officer, found lying in a supine position with significant injuries to his head, upper extremities, and torso. His right femur was protruding through his skin, large pool of blood in the road. Islami was a mom to 3 children, aged 7, 10, and 12. She suffered significant injuries, had blood around her face, and they're both dead. And when they searched Ramirez's vehicle, the illegal alien, they found beer spilled all over the place and a vape cartridge. So she was smoking pot, a THC vape cartridge. So she's smoking pot and drunk at the same time. Her blood alcohol content, 0.14, twice the legal limit, or just under twice the legal limit. And she also tested positive for cannabis. So responding cops noticed that her eyes were watery and bloodshot, strong odor of an alcoholic beverage emanating from her mouth. And the Department of Homeland Security confirmed that she entered the country illegally. Melissa Esperanza Ramirez Romero is a criminal illegal alien with charges for vehicular manslaughter and DUI. And ICE lodged a detainer on July 26, which would never happen unless Trump's president. They lodged an ICE detainer against her, so hopefully she'll be out of the United States quickly. But to make things even more infuriating, she's not only registered to vote in Connecticut, she has voted repeatedly. Another illegal alien that votes all the time. And we could all guess which party she voted for, right? And then the Democrat-appointed judge lowered her bond from $500,000 to $300,000, citing, get this, her deep ties to the community. There you have it. Everything wrong in one story, everything wrong with the United States of America. Another black-robed, communist, bribed, traitor tyrant. Again, it's an opinion show. My opinion, not fact, just my gut instinct, says people like this are either brainwashed, mentally ill. I'm talking about the judge, not the illegal immigrant. Either brainwashed or bribed by China or the Mexican drug cartel, because nobody could be this stupid and suicidal and evil. Nobody, by mistake, could be this bad. Who would lower the bond because she has deep ties to the community? Ties to the community. She was drunk and high on pot. She killed a cop, and she's a voter. But she has deep ties to the community. She's been charged with 2 counts of manslaughter. Who gives a flying F if she has deep ties to the community? What's her deep ties? She's been washing dishes and cleaning toilet bowls? What's her deep ties? How sickening. What is it she does that give her deep ties to the community? She's got 50 family members that are all on welfare. That's her deep ties to the community that are ripping off the taxpayers of Connecticut? What a joke. What an absolute joke. And you know, this show, this podcast, which is also simulcast in my nationally syndicated radio show, airs in Connecticut, all over Connecticut, up and down the 95. Lots of great Connecticut conservative talk show stations. Morning anchor for all of them. Morning host is Lee Elsey, my great friend, who's my guest host here all the time. And this is a Connecticut story in the news. And people wake up. Are you in another world? You're allowing this to happen? Illegal aliens, drunk and high, kill policeman and his girlfriend with 3 kids? Never on the earth again? No mom for them? And the cops are not alive anymore to be a cop and defend us and protect us? Sworn to protect us and defend us? Gone? And she's a voter, has voted in multiple elections, and she votes for Democrats. Why? How do I know that? Am I like Swami with a crystal ball? How do I know that? Because every illegal that manages to get registered and votes is voting Democrat. Because if you vote Republican and you're a legal alien, you're voting against your own best interest. You'll be kicked out of the country, or they'll kick you off your welfare. But if you vote Democrat and Democrats win, you're going to stay in the country forever, and you're going to get welfare forever, and food stamps, and earned income tax credits, and free health care, and everything else, housing allowances, aid to dependent children. You're going to get everything because Democrats are in office versus Republicans. So who do you think they're voting for? You think illegals are voting Republican? It's not a little conflict of interest, is it? If you vote Republican, you leave the country, you're kicked out in handcuffs and leg irons. And if you vote Democrat, they give you the world and you stay forever. They give you more money in welfare than the average American makes for being a blue-collar worker. So of course you're going to vote Democrat while you're killing people drunk and high. Hard to believe this is the United States of America. And the judge says, let's lower her bond because she's got ties to the community. What ties does an illegal alien have? She broke into the community. She's here illegally. She's living on stolen land, as Democrats love to say. Remember, the land belongs to the Indians. So it's not just white people who stole it, according to Democrats. It's illegal aliens living on that stolen land. She's got no ties to the community. Which community? The Indian community? She stole the land. She broke into our country. It's all insane. It's all too much to even imagine. I got to write a column about this before the week is up because it's just every problem in America in one shot. And the biggest problem in all that isn't illegal aliens. It's not illegal aliens driving drunk and high. It's not killing policemen and in the accident, which isn't an accident. It's manslaughter. And it's not voting. You know what the biggest tragedy of all of it is? Bigger than all of those? I mean, there's nothing bigger than killing a policeman, nothing bigger than killing a mother of 3. But what's really the worst part of all of it is that there's a liberal judge who's lowering the bond and saying she has ties to the community. Because this is what's destroying America. It's not just illegal aliens. It's not people killing cops. It's judges, liberal judges, commie judges who really are sick in the head. Something's wrong with all of them. And I think it's that they're being bribed by China to destroy this country, or the Mexican drug cartel to let all the drug dealers in and make sure they stay and make sure all the illegals stay. Because, of course, the drug cartels make billions of dollars a week off human trafficking and sex trafficking and drug trafficking. They need all these illegals. Matter of fact, every illegal probably owes them $50,000 for bringing them in. So they're all paying them off over the next 30 years. So every time you send them back to Mexico, you're screwing up the Mexican drug cartel's profit structure. So they make sure the judges are bought and paid for. I'm so sick of hearing, oh, Wayne, how do you know that? In the 1930s and 40s, don't you know the entire New York, every judge was bought by the mafia? Why do you not assume every judge is now bought by the drug cartels? They make more money than the mafia ever dreamt of. Remember, if you watch mafia movies like I do 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, I watch mafia movies and mafia documentaries. And in every one of them, they're always fighting. The omerta, don't ever sell drugs. And what's the answer from the young mafia guy who wants to sell the drugs? If we don't do it, The other guy's going to do it. He's going to make all the money. He's going to buy the judges. He's going to buy the police. He's going to be more powerful than us. He's going to kill us and put us out of business and throw us in prison or kill us. And they were right. So now the drug cartels are not owned by the mafia. Okay, I would have preferred if the drugs were sold by the mafia. At least they're Americans. At least they're American criminals making the money. Instead, it's all Mexican drug cartels making the money and Venezuelan drug cartels making the money. And the American mafia is out of business. I believe in America first. Even when it comes to crime, America first. I can't imagine you put the mafia out of business, give the money to China and the Mexican drug cartel. At least we could have some nice Italian Americans making the money. Come on, man. All right, Lost Soldier Oil and Gas, sponsor of this show, this podcast, this radio show, this everything. Lost Soldier sponsors everything I've got. It's the golden age of Trump prosperity, and it's all about making America the energy capital of the world. Think about this for a minute. Can you imagine if Trump wasn't president? We'd have the same invasion as Spain going on. The border would have millions jumping over, and nobody would stop any of them, and we'd have no oil. Can you imagine? We could never attack Iran if Kamala was president, because we wouldn't have our own wells working and our own drilling working. So we'd have no oil. We'd be dependent on Iranian oil and Venezuelan oil. All our enemies, maybe Russian oil. Oh, wait, who else is our enemy? Maybe Canadian oil. Canada's now our enemy. Maybe Canadian oil. We get back, I got to tell you about a new law in Canada. If I was doing this show in Canada, I'd be in jail in 5 seconds. They would drag me to prison. Or already, everything I've said would have me go to prison because the new law they just passed. But anyway, Lost Soldier Oil and Gas, headed by oil and gas legend Mark Bruner, whose companies have created more than $15 billion in shareholder value. At its peak, his company, Penteco Energy, grew about 100 to 1 for investors. Ultra Petroleum grew 1,000 to 1. A $10,000 investment turned into $13 million over 10 years. Would you be patient enough to wait 10 years to turn 10,000 into 13 million? Come on. You better be, because if your answer is no, you're an idiot. Lost Soldier could be much bigger than Ultra Petroleum. Mark thinks so. He thinks it could be the biggest gas discovery in the United States in 100 years. It's a 40,000-acre territory in Wyoming. It took 40 years to piece together. Talk about patience, 40 years to piece it together. The first 4,000 feet drilled so far are estimated to contain up to 6 trillion cubic feet of gas. And to learn more about Lost Soldier Oil and Gas, go to lostsoldier.com, fill out the contact form. They will get right back to you, lostsoldier.com. And I am an investor. And yes, I personally am invested in this project. I believe personally it's my retirement fund. So I've put a lot of money into it. So hopefully one day I can retire with a lot of millions. Thank you, Lost Soldier Oil and Gas. Go to lostsoldier.com. And don't forget, coming up in about 45 minutes or so is my new show on Real America's Voice TV network called America Speaks, where you get to speak, you get the microphone. You can call me at 3 o'clock. Did I say 45 minutes? It's an hour 45. Excuse me, at 6 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Pacific, an hour 45 from now is my new show, America Speaks. You could call there now and leave a message, leave a voicemail, and I'll read it on the air, or you could wait till 3 o'clock Pacific time, right here in Vegas, 3 o'clock, which is 6 o'clock Eastern, and you could call in. You can watch it on YouTube, on a Real America's Voice YouTube channel, and then it airs tonight at midnight on Real America's Voice. In any case, I take live calls at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, 1-800-347-ROOT, 1-800-347-ROOT, which is 1-800-347-7668. We'll be right back. Great guest coming up. I'm Wayne Allyn Root. This is Warzone Live. Be right back. Hi, this is Wayne Allyn Root. If you're sick and tired of supporting woke companies, I have great news for you. You don't have to anymore. You can shop where my family shops at GreatPatriotStore.com. My team researched thousands of companies for my best-selling book, The Great Patriot Boycott Book, and one stood out above all, GreatPatriotStore.com. This is the answer to inflation. Hundreds of household products that you're already buying. Much higher quality, no toxic chemicals, delivered right to your door at incredible prices. 20,000 American families are joining every month, and you should too. And now they've got the beef, pasture-raised with no hormones, antibiotics, or mRNA ever, exclusively available only to their members. Like Costco or Sam's Club, you need to become a member. Go to GreatPatriotStore.com, fill out the form, and they'll contact you right away. And boom, you're a member. For a limited time, the annual membership is $1. Go to GreatPatriotStore.com. That's GreatPatriotStore.com. Hey, Wayne Allyn Root, America Speaks. You call in and we talk about it. Your opinions, your comments, your questions. How do you call in? 800-347-ROOT. 800-347-ROOT. 800-347-7668. The show airs at midnight, East Coast time, 9 p.m. Pacific, but we tape it at 6 p.m. East Coast time, 3 p.m. Pacific. So you call in at 6 p.m. Eastern, and I talk to you, and it airs that night at midnight. The phone number again, 800-347-ROOT. That number is 24/7. You can leave voicemails. We play your voicemails on the air as well.
Hey, Wayne, what do you think about Obama?
He was a communist, socialist, Marxist radical.
I agree.
Or you can email me, wayneroot@gmail.com. I'll read your email live on the air with your comments or questions. America Speaks. All right, my guest is standing by. I'll get to him in just 1 second. I want to mention a couple of news stories and then the sponsor, and then we'll get to Edward Dowd, one of the great fund managers in America today, and a brilliant math guy who understands the math of COVID and the COVID vaccine injuries better than anyone in the world, probably. The NYPD reports hate crimes rise under Zohran Mamdani, the Muslim mayor of New York. More than half are committed against Jews. We have open season on Jews in the United States of America. Never thought that I could ever say something like that in my lifetime. Just, this is the only country other than Israel where Jews have always been welcomed and loved and accepted, and a major part of America. And a Jew originally founded the American Revolution. There'd be no America without a Jew, and America's always been nice and loved Jews. Never been a problem. All of a sudden, problems. What a coincidence. What a coincidink. You got a Muslim mayor who loves radical Muslim terrorists, and all of a sudden you've got hate to Jews. And you got Democrat Socialist America running all over the United States, DSA candidates running all over the United States, and their biggest thing is, I hate America, I hate Jews. Just unbelievable what's happened in our country. We let these people in the country, they're foreigners, many of them are Muslims, and they hate Jews, and we let them in. We were asking for it. And then I talked about, problems with illegals voting. New Jersey offers taxpayer-funded legal services to non-citizens improperly registered to vote. It's in Madison, Wisconsin. They've got an autonomous zone. They've taken over downtown. Black protesters, another Black Lives Matter event, because a cop shot a black guy with a criminal record this long, who's committed every crime known to man, who's trying to stab the cop. And they're complaining about that. And guess who's paying for the autonomous zone? The city of Madison, Wisconsin is paying so that criminals take over their downtown. Incredible. Sponsor of this segment of the show is Amio Life, one of my favorite companies. I use their alkaline structured silver solution 4 times a day to boost my immune system, which is why I basically never get sick. And natural silver mouthwash to keep my breath clean, and silver gel on my face each night to stay young. I'm 65 years old, and this gel's a big reason why I look good. Silver lozenges I suck on during each break in the show to make sure my voice doesn't go. It's all part of my daily wellness routine. They've got a big part of it. The good folks at Amio realize inflation is still hitting hard, so they're offering 30% discount on every single product they sell to Wayne Root fans. Visit AmioLife.com and use the promo code ROOT30 to save 30%. AmioLife.com, promo code ROOT30 to save 30% on every product I use and even every product I don't. Whatever they've got, automatically it's 30% off. ROOT30 at AmioLife.com. All right, my guest is here, Edward Dowd. It's a little more of a free-flowing show nowadays. I can talk to my wonderful guests as long as I want. And so I could be a little late because we could just stay here forever, Ed. Founder of Finance Technologies, author of Cause Unknown, a great book, The Epidemic of Sudden Deaths in 2021 and 2022. Former portfolio manager at BlackRock, where he oversaw a $14 billion portfolio. Obviously a brilliant guy, obviously knows his math. And he's been one of my go-to guys for all the COVID events going on, COVID vaccine events death events, injury events, disabling events going on across the United States. Ed, welcome to the show, first of all. How are you?
Good to be here, Wayne. Thanks for having me on again, brother.
I remember when you were talking about, forget about deaths for a minute, let's put them aside. You were talking about how many people have become disabled since the COVID vaccine. It was numbers that no one had ever seen before. Has that flattened out now, or are there still more excess people now claiming to be disabled and no longer working than ever before, and it keeps rising, or is it flattened out? Where is it at right now?
When you and I talked several years ago, it had risen to 3 million, above the baseline. It had kind of peaked out at 29 to 30 million for 5 years prior to COVID. Then in February of 21, it took off. And then around 2022, 23, it got to 3 million above. Unfortunately, I'm here to say it's now 6 million. And it looks like a growth stock. And it's not flattened out. It does have periods where it goes sideways, but then it goes to a new high. And we went to a new high last month.
Incredible.
And again, I want your, a lot of the pushback I get on this is, it's because of the boomers. It's because of illegal immigrants. It's because of fraud. This is a survey. And if you answer one of 6 questions, you're marked down as disabled. They don't ask you if you're disabled. They ask you 6 questions during the survey. And if you and this is the non-farm payroll report. It's all part of the same thing. And so it's a survey, and they statistically impute it. So it's not tied to a Social Security disability payment. Illegals tend to avoid talking to the government, so they're usually not picked up. And the boomers could account for some of this, but not a 22.5% rise in 6 years. It'd be maybe like 1-2% of demographics. So it's obviously you and I blame the vaccine. And this is a tragic event that continues to kind of roll quietly through society.
This is all-time record levels of people on the disabled list. I think you could say some of it. I'll even be fair and say with an asterisk, some of it has to be from the COVID vaccine, because it only started the excess disabled and the excess death and the excess injuries. All of it started at the moment we rolled out the COVID vaccine, not the moment of COVID, the COVID vaccine. Am I right about that? That's when it began?
Well, the excess deaths, there were 500 excess deaths in 2020, but I would contend they were counting anything as COVID back then. Right. And there was also death-dealing hospital protocols that kind of inflated the numbers. Right. And they denied early treatment. So 500,000 pre-COVID, pre-vaccine, then another 500,000 excess deaths in 2021, but it was a flip. It was a mix shift from the old in 2020 to the young in 2021. So apparently the virus decided to go attack young people. You'd have to assume that, which we've never seen a virus. Obviously, I blame the vaccines and whatnot. This is like a tragic. And look, the good news is more and more people have figured this out. The problem is officialdom. The state has really not talked about this, and it's kind of like a third rail at this point.
Well, if you look at the Daily Mail, do you ever read the Daily Mail? It's kind of a fascinating online newspaper, and it used to be the UK Daily Mail. Now it's just called the Daily Mail, and it applies to America. They've got a UK version, an American version, and I read it every day because it's got all these salacious articles. Reminds me of the New York Post. It's fun to read because it's so wild. Everything's salacious and interesting and controversial, and they keep having articles, Ed, about how young people have cancer in numbers no one's ever seen, and that no one's ever seen young people with colon cancer and young people with bowel cancer, and they can't understand it. And no one's ever seen so many young people with Parkinson's disease, and no one's ever seen so many people, period, with ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, all of which, if you speak to experts like Peter McCullough, one of the great doctors in America who's a guest on my show all the time, he'll tell you every one of those is a side effect of the COVID vaccine. And when you read the articles, they go, we asked 50 doctors. No one can understand why young people are getting cancer they never got, or Parkinson's, or ALS. They come up with every excuse. It's got to be food additives. It's got to be your lifestyle. You're sitting in the sun too much. You're drinking too much. You're vaping too much. The one thing they will never say is the COVID vaccine. And yet you and I both know all these increases have come only since 2021 when everybody was forced, at least all the people who worked, were forced to get the COVID vaccine.
Yeah, and we showed in some of our research on financetechnologies.com under the humanities projects, we have papers we put out. We saw multiple different cancers inflect in young people. That's 25 through 44, beginning in 2021. The only cancer that had been rising consistently was colon, but colon had another step forward. But the other cancers were coming down, and they all inflected in this young cohort around 2021 and kept rising in 22 and 23. The standard deviations we saw above trend line, were above 3 sigma, which, tells you something's going on. It's a signal something's changed. And you know what? My favorite new excuse is the one out of Australia a couple months ago, where they said that the increase in cancer amongst young people could be due to the fact that they're aging faster than their elders. Oh, okay.
And why?
Great.
Why are they aging faster? They come up with all these crazy excuses. How about, again, they'll tell me I'm wrong in applying this to a personal situation, which is not scientific enough for them. But I just know a lot of people. I'm always telling people that I have 6,000 names in this phone. That's how many phone names are in my phone address book. 6,000. I mean, and I only put you in here if you're a friend, a business associate, a fan who contacts me all the time. I mean, these are all people I really know. 6,000. And all of them constantly tell me, every one of them, that a lot of people they know are dying or dead or very sick or very injured or disabled. And they say, all my friends who are unvaccinated, every person in his phone says that. All my friends who are unvaccinated are fine. And all my friends who are dead or dying or very sick all have one thing in common: they're vaccinated. When everybody says that, isn't that called a cancer cluster? I think it is scientific. 6,000 people is pretty scientific. Everybody says they know people who died after getting the COVID vaccine and who were never sick before that. I think my personal friends and associates is a pretty scientific thing that indicates something is wrong.
Anecdotes. First of all, anecdotes like that should lead to questions, and 6,000 is not enough proof, but it's enough to ask the question. And Senator Ron Johnson, I think held hearings recently talking about potential for cancer from the mRNA vaccines, and the media circus was crickets on that topic. I mean, he's a sitting senator, and that should have been like page one news. But
they won't allow it. They won't allow it.
They're paid by pharmaceutical industry execs, and this is a business model. The sicker you get, as long as you live, death isn't actually good for them because they can't harvest as much cash flow from you. So they'd like to kind of keep you disabled as long as possible. Yeah,
it's pretty sick stuff, and I think it's a twofer. I think there's two reasons we've had this massive cover-up. We're talking Ed Dowd, who's one of the great portfolio managers ever. He was at BlackRock, managed $14 billion. He's the founder of Finance Technologies, the author of the book Cause Unknown, The Epidemic of Sudden Deaths in 2021 and 2022, and he understands math. So I think it's twofold, Ed. First of all, think about the conflicts of interest they're facing in the media. They, first of all, chose in the beginning because of the big money from Big Pharma that they get, and the newsroom would all get fired. They'd have no money. Half of NBC, ABC, and CBS, they'd all lose their jobs if you cut out pharmaceutical advertising. So the conflict of interest is your job depends on not pissing off Big Pharma. So that's conflict number one. Conflict number two is they all, every single one of them in the media depends on this money to do anything and everything to make their money, their stock options, their stock gains, to hire people, to all the major executives in the office suite, the C-suites. All of them make, $20 million a year, $10 million a year, $15 million a year. They wouldn't make it if there wasn't $1 billion coming in from Big Pharma. Their salary depends on it at the top. And then they all covered up in the beginning because of all that. So don't you think now they have to continue the cover up, because then they would have to admit they covered up in the first place, so they got to continue the cover up. So they first covered up, now it's a cover up of the cover up, because otherwise they're responsible for all the people that watched them that died. Even Fox News took money. You and I both know the government paid Fox News and Newsmax money in the millions to never allow a guest to talk negative about the COVID vaccine. You're aware of that, I assume?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There was a FOIA request, $1 billion in federal money, and I'm sure other monies from NGOs in the background.
So don't you
think
they could be sued? I think technically, if you watched Fox News and your mother died because she took the vaccine, because she never saw anything negative ever, they never presented both sides. Fox News could be sued for $1 trillion. Fox News could lose, Murdoch family could lose Fox News if the class action lawsuit came along. So they're all covering up the cover up so they never have to ever go there in the first place. That's just my gut.
Well, your gut is correct, and there's precedent for that. You know, I was there during the Enron days, and people asked, you know, how did they carry on the fraud for so long? As it was unraveling, they continued to lie because the fraud was so big. They had to lie until like someone put them in handcuffs and proved that they were lying. Right. And that's where we are with this COVID thing. The fraud is so big and so deep. They have to keep. They're going to pretend nothing's going on, and they will never admit to it unless forced to.
And what's amazing is, you know, it just so happens that most lawyers are liberal. Not all, but most lawyers. I'll bet you 80% plus of lawyers are liberal. And I'll bet you in big towns like New York and LA, on the coast, it's 95% of lawyers are liberal. Every lawyer I meet hates Donald Trump, and they're all ranting and raving about everything Trump does. So that's the only reason that they're so greedy. You'd think there'd be massive multi-trillion-dollar class action lawsuits against Pfizer, Moderna, AstraZeneca, Johnson & Johnson. You think they'd be suing Fox News? Some smart, enterprising lawyer should do a class action lawsuit against Fox News and sue them for billions because thousands of their viewers died because they took money to not report the other side of the negative side effects of the COVID vaccine. So mommy died and daddy died, and now you're an orphan because Fox News wouldn't present both sides. And yet their motto is fair and balanced. We present both sides. I think there's a massive class action lawsuit there, certainly against Pfizer, but definitely against some of the media too. No one's doing it despite lawyers being greedy because the lawyers are liberal. They took the vaccine, and they all actually believe this nonsense too in many cases, I would guess.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. A lot of them still believe it. But there's also another problem. A lot of Pfizer and these big media companies spread their law. You know, they all have general counsels that seek outside counsel, and they put people on retainer. So a lot of these big law firms, even if they got a suit, we would have a conflict of interest. So it has to be someone small, brave, and phenomenally smart, but somehow, you know, with enough gumption and funding to bring it to the finish line. So the big law firms aren't going to touch us with the 10-foot pole.
Wow, you're a smart guy. I didn't even think about that. You're right. So every one of these billion-dollar firms in D.C. and New York on Park Avenue, they've all got retainers with Big Pharma, so they can't take a lawsuit against Big Pharma. I didn't even think about that. Another insurance policy by Big Pharma to make sure they can't get sued. I never even thought about that. Interesting. Hey, let's take a quick break, and we'll finish the whole last segment to the end of the show with Ed, because he is fascinating. I still have so many questions for him. Edward Dowd is the founder of Finance Technologies, author of Cause Unknown, The Epidemic of Sudden Deaths in 2021 and 2022, former portfolio manager at BlackRock, where he oversaw a $14 billion portfolio. This is a smart guy. And he's not hoodwinked. He's not brainwashed. He understands, like I do, what actually happened to America and the gaslighting we are undergoing. And I don't know why everyone else, you know, so many people are susceptible to this brainwashing and this gaslighting and this fraud and propaganda. And guys like me and Ed aren't. I saw through this from the first day. And so I figured this out from day one. I don't know why everybody else couldn't figure this out, but Edward Dowd figured it out. He's a smart guy, and I'm glad he's with us. We'll be right back. Wayne Allyn Root, Warzone Live. My website, rootforamerica.com, and you can email me anytime, wayneroot@gmail.com. And don't forget, you can ring the phones in about an hour and 15 minutes at America Speaks, my new show on Real America's Voice TV, 800-347-ROOT, waiting for your calls, 800-347-ROOT. Be right back. All right, one of my favorite guests ever, Allyn is with us, an advocate for GreatPatriotStore.com. He's been a customer for 36 years, almost 4 decades. My wife and I, Cindy, do much of our monthly shopping now at GreatPatriotStore.com. It's an alternative to wokeness. It's run by pro-American conservatives. USA Today voted it one of the best stores in America in 2025. And with all these communists taking over, Allyn, New York, Seattle, Chicago, promising cheap government groceries or free, you need to buy American. Tell us why.
Absolutely. You know, a lot of our competitors have completely lost it. They've gone totally woke over the years, but our founding axiom is really very simple. For 41 years, we've been focused on manufacturing exceptional products at reasonable prices, made by Americans here in America for Americans. And we've expanded. We have manufacturing plants across the United States, distribution plants across the United States. And not only can Americans get the best quality, the best price from Great Patriot Store, in most cases, we can deliver to your front door even faster than Amazon.
So prices are high everywhere. Procter & Gamble and Amazon are considering price increases. How do the prices at Great Patriot Store compare to national brands?
Well, we've got hundreds of products, Wayne, but if you just take a look at one like our laundry detergent, we make it, it's patented, and it's literally almost fractions, almost half the price of our competitors, and you get 96 loads of wash. It's the best value. There's no toxic chemicals in any of our products whatsoever. And if you're looking to lose some of those holiday pounds, you don't need the shots with the LPG-1 drugs. We have something called berberine. Nature's Ozempic is what people are calling it. It's legit, it works, and we've got it at a better price than any of our competitors.
All right, we've got just seconds to go, so be quick. I love your beef. I eat your sirloin and your New York steak all the time. It's kind of breakfast and lunch for me all the time. Why is your beef superior?
Made in America, never, ever any hormones, ever any antibiotics, no mRNA. It's all prime. It's the best quality that you can find at the best price, free shipping, and it's the best beef on the planet.
All right, to get your free gift, that's right, a free gift, purchase the beef and other great American products. You got to be a member. Go to GreatPatriotStore.com, fill out the form. One of their conservative team members will contact you right away. GreatPatriotStore.com. Happy New Year. Thank you, Allyn.
Thank you, Wayne. God bless.
All right, Wayne Allen Root. The Root is on fire. We'll continue our conversation with Edward Dowd. In just a second, I want to mention the sponsor of the show, Tangible Investments. How important is it to own gold? China's central bank just increased their gold reserves for the 20th straight month, which I believe is an all-time record in the history of modern world. I'm not sure if it's all-time, but certainly in our times, no country's ever bought gold reserves year after year after year, 20 consecutive months. And the 20th month, the last month, they bought the most, I think, ever. If I remember correctly, it's the most they bought of any of that 20-month run in a month. So China is preparing for what's coming, and a lot of bad things are coming down the pike. But buying gold alone is not even the answer, because you need to buy it at the right price. And this is where buyers often get misled. Other gold companies say we only charge 1% over cost, but whose cost are they talking about? The real question you need to ask is, what are you charging me over spot price? And then compare the answer to Tangible. Tangible Investments is offering gold bullion at just 1% over spot. That's unheard of. They offer silver as low as 3% over spot. I've known the owner of Tangible Investments for about 25 years. They've been in business for more than 40 years. They've handled more than $2 billion in transactions, and their team brings over 200 combined years of experience with precious metals. If you want gold, silver, precious metals, or rare coins from a real firm with real credibility and honest pricing, call Tangible right now, 888-330-4351, toll free, 888-330-4351, or go to the website they created just for my fans, rootforgold.com, rootforgold.com. And I see this as a great moment. Personally, I see it as a great moment to own gold. and I want to add every minute I can to my gold ownership, because gold was 5,600, and now it's down to 4,100. It's a great moment to buy again while gold is resting, or maybe you'd say gold investors are resting. This is a moment where it's up, and then down, and then just resting, and I think it's got its peak to come. So I think it's a great moment, and you're buying in at a point where it's been lower for a while. So I think it's a great time to enter the market. Just my personal opinion. Ed Dowd's with us. His book is called Cause Unknown, The Epidemic of Sudden Deaths in 2021 and 2022. He's the founder of Finance Technologies. So your reaction, Ed, to the Fauci diaries and what was revealed, and also Fauci taking the fifth 111 times like John Gotti. What was your reaction to all that?
Well, look, it basically proved you and I were right about everything. Everything out of his mouth was basically a lie.
Right.
You know, the effectiveness. Let's start with the vaccine. Safe and effective. It was neither effective nor safe. He knew that. He knew the 6-foot distancing was nonsense. He knew masks were nonsense. He knew that closing down would not stop the spread. He made sure that early treatment was not allowed, so the vaccine would be ushered in. I mean, almost everything this guy did was purposeful and evil, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting is I saw that Fauci wrote a research paper. I just found that out over the weekend. He wrote a research paper about the Spanish flu. This is going back like 20 years. And in the research paper, which was Fauci's paper, he writes that the Spanish flu killed the most people in the history of the world. I don't remember what the number was, but like 20 million people died, something like that. And he says it turns out that most of them didn't die from the flu. They died from bacterial pneumonia, which came from the masks that they wore, which were filthy. And then he goes and recommends it for everybody in this updated day and age, where the same thing was happening. Little children would wear these filthy masks all day and then go play on the playground and wear the same filthy mask the whole day and pick their nose and wipe their butt and then put their hand on the mask and then put the mask against their face. Nothing is any different than the Spanish flu. Masks are filthy except in an operating room setting where they have piles of thousands of masks, and the doctor grabs one, takes it off, puts a new one on, takes it off, puts a new one on. Nobody does that in the real world because masks cost too much money. So no one's going to put 12 of them on a day or 12 an hour, you know? So to wear the same mask all day is a filthy face diaper that causes bacterial pneumonia and infections and makes you a sick person. He knew that, and yet he recommended them.
Yeah, that's insane. I've also seen other different narratives about the Spanish flu. Masks were one of the culprits, and the bacterial pneumonia, and additionally, there was a vaccine that probably wasn't very good. And additionally, they were using aspirin, but the dosage was like crazy amounts of aspirin that may have killed a lot of people as well. Wow. when you came into the hospital. So there was a whole cacophony of things, but it certainly wasn't the Spanish flu, is what we're finding out.
Yeah, and speaking of killing people, I thought it was also interesting that Ron Johnson, who's a good friend of the show, he's on all the time, U.S. Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin, the state that looks like it might very well elect a socialist/communist as the new governor of Wisconsin. Isn't that wonderful? Crazy people. But Ron Johnson had graphs, charts, like Ross Perot, at the hearing, and he was showing how many people died. 40,000 people died or so, according to the VAERS, the Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System. Now, I don't believe that number's right, Ed, because I saw Harvard study show only 1% of deaths ever get reported to VAERS. So if you multiply 40,000 deaths times 100, there might be 4 million deaths in the United States due to the COVID vaccine. I think the number's probably 500,000 to a million. But either way, 40,000 is ridiculously low. But let's take that number as the real number, 40,000. Let's assume it's the right number. First time ever, every person that died was reported correctly to VAERS. When the Spanish flu was around in the 1970s, I think it was 78 or 79, they vaccinated like 50 million people and 25 died. Not 25,000, just 25 people died. And they canceled the entire program because 25 people died. Now you fast forward to today, 40,000 died. Not 4 million, not a million, let's be reasonable. 40,000 died. No problem at all. Let's keep vaccinating everyone. And let's go walk into CVS, and it encourages you to get the vaccine even today. Isn't this insanity?
It's total insanity. And to your point about the swine flu in '76, there were 500 cases. Yeah, I knew what you meant.
Got it.
There were 500 cases of Guillain-Barré syndrome.
Yes.
And 25 deaths, and they yanked the thing. And so let's fast forward. The Bears, first of all, Bears should have shut this down. I mean, they let it get to 40, but back in the early days, it was, it had risen to like 4,000 or 5,000 pretty quick.
Right.
They should have shut it down.
Right.
And to the point of the frontline doctors, the CDC should have shut it down. The FDA hid they all hid stuff. And people like me and others that have done statistical work on this shouldn't have had any reason for existing. Like the fact that I had to come onto the scene was a joke. This should have been shut down by the regulatory bodies that are supposedly there to protect us. They did in the 70s, but apparently something happened between 1976 and 2021.
Someone realized they could make a lot of money on this vaccine. They didn't want to stop making the money. I really think that was a big part of it, unless I want to really be cynical. All my fans think I'm way too nice. Everyone says to me, Wayne, we love you. We love everything you say. But when it comes to the vaccine, you're too nice. You keep saying it was about greed, and they all made billions, but you're not admitting that it was population control, that Gates and company wanted to kill millions of people. I just don't even get involved in that because I can't prove it. I don't know about that. I just know everyone made hundreds of billions of dollars, and they wanted the gravy train to keep going. Whether or not, I don't think any doctor woke up in the morning and said, I hope I can kill 25 patients today. See, I don't want to say things like that because I don't think that's true. I think the doctors were brainwashed. I think they do whatever the CDC tells them, whatever the FDA tells them, whatever their boss tells them, because every doctor now is owned by some large corporation. And so I don't think anyone wanted to kill anyone purposely. Maybe at the top, maybe the Bill Gates did. But most of the people just wanted to believe they were helping everyone and they were making lots of money at the same time. So, I mean, I don't know. Where do you stand on the purposely wanting to kill millions because of overpopulation?
I've talked on this topic a lot in the last 6 years. I wasn't in the room, so I don't know. Right. But let's pretend that was one of the goals. A de facto depopulation is occurring as we speak. Excess deaths continue to this day, and birth rates are declining. So, but regardless of whether or not there was a plan, it's happening.
It works.
Number two, you don't even. To your point, you don't even need to assume that. It's power and money. Right. It's as old as Babylon.
That's what I always say. Exactly.
It's as old as Babylon. And so let's go back to the swine flu. Something happened between 76 and 2021. What happened? Regulatory capture by corporations, and corruption became a way of life in these institutions. That's it, bottom line.
Right. I mean, it's the same way I've seen all these things where, here's 12 leading Democrats who run Washington, and all of them have brothers and sisters and sister-in-laws in the media. It's so interplayed. It's so disgusting how they're all tied together. Every leading Democrat's got a brother and a sister who's involved with ABC, NBC, CBS. Their wife is involved with ABC, NBC, CBS. Well, I think it's the same thing. I think if you looked, you'd find that all the leading Democrats have someone in their family or a best friend who's on the board of pharma or a major salesman for pharma or a major owner of stock in Pfizer. They're all intertwined with each other. It's disgusting, the synergy between the media, the government, the Democrat Party, and Big Pharma. That's really what it comes down to.
Oh, that, and then there's the whole NGO system where, I remember Stacey Abrams after Biden left somehow started an NGO like months before he left, and it was funded with $2 billion.
$2 billion, right. It didn't have $100 in sales, and they gave him $2 billion. It's correct. The most incredible thing I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen. I'm a smart businessman. I've made a lot of millions in my life, and I've never been able to raise money for something that never made a dime. In other words, I don't understand. Only in politics can you go to the government and say, I have an idea. It's never made $1. It's never been proven. It's brand new. It's a bank account with zero in it. Could you give me $2 billion? And the government says, sure. I've never been around something like that in my entire life, Ed. I wish I could get Wall Street to give me $2 billion for an idea that's never been proven and has no money in the bank. But it doesn't happen in the private sector.
Oh, it's disgusting. And, everyone should understand when you ask yourself, why do some of these septuagenarian Democrat and some Republicans, the rhinos that we don't like, their net worths are hundreds of millions of dollars, and we know what their salary is. How does that happen?
Doesn't make any sense. All right, last thing, and then I'll let you run. Just, I thought at the hearing, they did a good job. I mean, they hammered him great. They really attacked Fauci, but they also, I think, were a little weak in some areas. Like, they attacked him for closing schools. In his own diary, admits he is the guy that fought to close the schools after years of claiming he never had anything to do with it. But what they didn't make the connection to, which I thought was weak, was, hey, it wasn't just that you closed schools. It's that you made sure that when they reopened the schools, that it was such a horrible threat that all the children would die, they had to be vaccinated, when you knew that not one child in all of America ever died of COVID unless they had childhood leukemia. Other than childhood cancer victims, no child died of COVID. So none of them, not only did they not have to cancel school, but none of them ever had to get vaccinated. And I don't think that part was brought up. You know, it's not that people have died from the vaccine. It's what's the future of children who got that vaccine? Are they in trouble 20 years from now, 5 years from now, today? I mean, that's a big issue that I think was left off.
Yeah, and, you know, look, during the throes of COVID in 22, 23, and 24, I remember there was a big push by the powers that be to get the COVID vaccine on the childhood schedule, because once you get it on the childhood schedule, they had the emergency declaration, but that was going to come off at some point. So if you got the COVID vaccine on the childhood schedule,
money,
you'd be indemnified forever.
And money. Government's going to pay for it. So you're guaranteed. How many children are there in America? Like 50 million? If they all have to get vaccinated, multiply 50 million times, I don't know, $50 or $100 a shot. And somebody's getting filthy rich. It's all about money and, as you say, indemnification. Of course, they can't come after them and go grab that money back. All right. Great talk, as always, with Ed. I just don't know, Ed, why people are so easily brainwashed. Guys like you and me are not. I'm cynical, and I think of everything government or people in authority say, and I go, let me think of how they might be lying. How come most people, they just go, okay, no problem, I'm a Stepford wife? I don't get it.
You know, the propaganda, we never saw such a propaganda campaign in all our lives. And the good news and the bad news is a lot of people fell for it, but as time rolls on, some people are peeling the onion layers and going down the rabbit hole and joining our ranks. It's a slow process, but this event that happened is forever changed trust in institutions going forward.
I don't know how anyone trusts anything that the government says, anything that Dr. Fauci or any medical expert says, any doctor says. They all turned out to be wrong about everything and liars about everything and turned out to be killers while they were trying to claim that we were the bad guys. I don't know how you could trust in any authority anymore. And I think the truth is most people don't now trust in authority, but they did in 2020 and 2021, and that was sad. I never did. I never fell for it from day one, and I got fired from so many things, Ed. I lost my job as a columnist for the Las Vegas newspaper. I lost my job with Newsmax TV. They all were mad that I wouldn't listen to government and authority and people that were supposed to be experts and smarter than me. And guess what? Experts are wrong about everything. You don't listen to them. Edward Dowd, founder of Finance Technologies, author of Cause Unknown, The Epidemic of Sudden Deaths in 2021 and 2022, who oversaw BlackRock's $14 billion portfolio. Very smart guy. Glad we have a smart guy on our side. Thank you, Ed.
Thank you.
All right, that's it for today's show. I'm Wayne Allyn Root. This has been Warzone Live. Don't forget, coming up in less than 1 hour now, about 55 minutes, is my new show, America Speaks, on Real America's Voice TV network. You can watch it live on the YouTube channel of Real America's Voice, or you can wait tonight till midnight Eastern, 9 p.m. Pacific to watch it. But either way, you can call in 1 hour, less than 1 hour, at 800-347-ROOT and talk to me. Ask me questions, comments, or opinions. I bring the show live to Las Vegas on Friday. That's completely sold out. You can't get tickets anymore at the Allyn Hotel in Las Vegas starting at 1 o'clock. My show and Eric Bolling's show will be live in front of a live studio audience, and you can ask me all the questions you want in person. But in the meantime, call up 800-347-ROOT. I would love to hear from you. Have a great night. God bless you. God bless Trump. God bless America. And as I always say, viva my tax-free Las Vegas. All right, Wayne Allyn Allen Root with Dan Montano, the CEO of Zicha Genesis Medicine. I've been telling you about Zicha Genesis Medicine and its medicines to reverse type 2 diabetes, Parkinson's disease, and the number one cause of death in the world, small vessel heart disease. This form of heart disease is responsible for 1/3 of all the deaths in the world. So it could be 1/3 of all the people watching right now. Joining us now, the CEO of Zicha Genesis Medicine, Dan Montano. Dan, let's get an update on the success your medicine is having on these diseases. Let's start with type 2 diabetes. What's the latest?
Wayne, very simple. We've dosed about 50 people now in Las Vegas. 95% have reversed their diabetes within a few weeks. Only 2 have not made it so far, but they were so high it didn't count. It's coming along excellent. I think we'll end the study by the end of March, April, and be able to announce the outcome, which I think is going to show 95% success in reversing type 2 diabetes.
Wow. What's the update with Parkinson's disease?
We've now treated over 250 Parkinson's disease patients, including some very big names you'll be hearing about soon, I hope. And the recovery and the improvement is material. They're walking, they're talking, and they've almost got themselves back to normal.
All right, so we're going to have celebrity announcements. I love that. You're treating celebrities. What's new with your treatment of heart disease?
We are now starting to treat people in the Bahamas where we're cleared. In fact, we'll be attending the Caribbean Cardiovascular Conference in July. We expect 300 to 400 doctors to hear about what our medicine does, and hopefully they'll start referring patients to us to treat there. So everything is coming together. Those 3 items are working perfect.
There's an investment opportunity for my fans. What's the latest on that?
Well, right now, the medical research studies that we're doing, we return the investors 10 times on their money. And if they're not happy in 48 months, we'll buy them back at 2 times. But I think they'll probably have the 10 times by the time the 4 years is up, because we're just having a tremendous response on all 3 categories.
Well, the updates are exciting. They are spectacular. They are wonderful, and they are music to my ears. If you're interested in learning more about this investment opportunity, go to cure-war.com. They created that website just for me. Cure-war. Wouldn't it be great to make money and help cure disease? And if you or someone you love is suffering from type 2 diabetes, Parkinson's disease, or heart disease, go to cure-war.com and register to be considered for their free medical research studies. Free. That's cure-war.com. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you, Wayne.
Hey, Wayne Allen Root, America Speaks. You call in and we talk about it. Your opinions, your comments, your questions. How do you call in? 800-347-ROOT. 800-347-ROOT. 800-347-7668. The show airs at midnight, East Coast time, 9 p.m. Pacific, but we tape it at 6 p.m. East Coast time, 3 p.m. Pacific. So you call in at 6 p.m. Eastern, and I talk to you, and it airs that night at midnight. The phone number again, 800-347-ROOT. That number is 24/7. You can leave voicemails. We play your voicemails on the air as well.
Hey, Wayne, what do you think about Obama?
He was a communist, socialist, Marxist radical.
I agree.
Or you can email me, wayneroot@gmail.com. I'll read your email live on the air with your comments or questions. America Speaks.